3:47 a.m. The shallow waters of the Strait of Hormuz are about to become the deadliest real estate on the planet. Deep in the pitch-black abyss, an arrogant Iranian Kilo-class submarine is running silent. At 400 feet, thinking it holds the ultimate element of surprise. The order is given, and $2 million torpedoes punch out of the tubes, screaming toward the USS Gerald R Ford, a 100,000-ton nuclear fortress, carrying 5,700 American lives. At a blistering 40 knots, the crew has exactly 43 seconds to survive. If you are sitting in the Combat Information Center watching those acoustic signatures lock onto your hull, then your blood turns to ice. But folks, here is the lethal error the Iranian captain just made. He thought the darkness was his ally. He didn't. Realized the United States Navy wasn't caught off guard. They were simply waiting for him to make the first move, so they could legally turn his $80 million boat into an artificial reef. Down in the sweaty control room of the Iranian Kilo submarine, the mood is electric. The captain is likely practicing his medal speech, high-fiving his crew as they listen to their twin heavyweight torpedoes carving through the brine. They genuinely believe they have pulled off an asymmetric miracle just hours before the State of the Union address. In their minds, creeping slowly below the thermocline layer makes them an undetectable ghost lurking in the Gulf. They are utterly convinced their propaganda about overwhelming the United States Navy with stealth is finally paying off. They picture the $13 billion supercarrier bursting into a fireball, bringing catastrophic embarrassment to Washington. Most ordinary people watching this unfold are only looking at the deadly torpedo wakes, speeding toward the massive target. But only those with a razor-sharp tactical mind will recognize the abnormal silence in the American response. A tiny detail that is about to cost the Iranian sailors everything they have. The Iranian submariners are celebrating a phantom victory. They have absolutely no idea that the United States Navy does not play fair when it comes to defending a floating city. As the torpedoes close the gap, the USS Gerald R Ford doesn't even bother to alter her course by a single degree. This isn't arrogance, it is the ultimate expression of technological supremacy. Deep inside the carrier's hull, an American acoustic operator just smirks and hits a single button. In exactly 4 seconds, a highly classified ace up the Navy's sleeve slides into the dark water. The enemy thinks they are hunting a 100,000-ton behemoth, but they are actually about to chase a digital ghost. If you ask why the most powerful warship on Earth is ignoring a direct threat, I will tell you an unbelievable military secret. Stay tuned, because the physics of underwater deception in the next 30 seconds is about to turn a multi-million-dollar Iranian ambush into the ultimate punchline. The ANSLQ-25C Nixie decoy hits the water instantly, broadcasting a perfect, deafening acoustic replica of the supercarrier's massive bronze propellers. The million-dollar Iranian torpedoes, acting like blinded attack dogs, violently correct their course and chase the digital phantom right into the muddy bottom, completely missing the Ford by a humiliating 275 meters. But here's the catch that the Iranian planners completely ignored when they drew up this suicidal mission. When you take a shot at the king and miss, you invite a world of disproportionate pain, realizing their prize submarine just blew its only chance. The Iranian Revolutionary Guard scrambles to salvage their shattered pride by unleashing their classic desperate asymmetric strategy, a zombie swarm of 12 fast attack craft launching out of Bandar Abbas. They are attempting to overwhelm the American defenses with sheer numbers, betting that a synchronized wave of cheap fiberglass speedboats armed with heavy machine guns and unguided rockets can slip through the cracks. This creates a fascinating tactical and economic dilemma for the Pentagon. If you were the commander of the USS Delbert D. Black, the Arleigh Burke class destroyer, escorting the carrier, what would your next move be? Do you let these annoying mosquito boats get within striking distance to save taxpayers some money? risking a lucky rocket hitting a sailor? Or do you authorize a multi-million-dollar fireworks display to swat away a few $1,000s worth of stolen fiberglass? Every second, those boats accelerate toward the strike group. The political stakes skyrocket. Washington is watching, the entire world is watching, and the cost exchange ratio is heavily skewed against the United. To wipe out this junk fleet, the destroyer would have to unleash its state-of-the-art SM-6 missiles, weapon systems that cost roughly $4 million a pop, against speedboats that cost less than a used Honda Civic. Most people would look at this financial equation and think the United States Navy is being forced into a corner, forced to bleed cash just to keep the perimeter secure. But folks, here is the genius detail about American military doctrine. When a $13 billion floating airbase and 5,000 American lives are on the line, the United States does not negotiate with accountants. The order is given, and the Aegis combat system takes a deep breath, locking onto all 12 bogies simultaneously, preparing a receipt that the Iranian regime will never financially recover from. Back in the cramped, saltwater-soaked cockpits of those 12 Iranian fast attack craft, the mood is completely decoupled from reality. The Revolutionary Guard crews are absolutely euphoric, ripping through the choppy waves at 50 knots, gripping their rusted heavy machine guns and unguided rocket launchers like they are the undisputed kings of the Persian Gulf. They are literally high-fiving over the deafening roar of their overworked outboard motors, screaming praises into their static-filled radios, completely convinced that their zombie swarm tactic has successfully paralyzed the American Leviathan. In their concrete command center back at Bandar Abbas, Iranian generals are already cracking open celebratory drinks and preparing the state television broadcast, arrogant enough to believe that Washington's hesitation to fire multi-million-dollar interceptors at cheap fiberglass speedboats is an undeniable sign of cowardice. The propaganda cameras mounted on the bows of the fast boats are rolling, capturing the young sailors gesturing wildly toward the horizon where the USS Gerald R Ford sits seemingly motionless, waiting to capture the exact moment the great American empire blinks first. They genuinely think they are reenacting a glorious historical victory. A naval David charging fearlessly at an armored Goliath, armed with nothing but righteous fury and absolute confidence. Most casual observers, watching this suicidal charge on a screen, would think the sheer audacity of these 12 buzzing boats might actually disrupt the carrier strike group's formation, forcing the massive warships into a chaotic and globally humiliating retreat. But if you belong to the elite group that truly understands modern naval warfare, you know that when a United States Arleigh Burke class destroyer goes completely dead silent on the radio, it is not panicking. It is just calculating the exact geometry of a slaughter. Stay focused, because how this arrogant parade ends is a brutal masterclass in physics, and the sheer volume of high explosive reality about to rain down on these cheering sailors is going to turn their triumphant propaganda footage into a terrifying cautionary tale. The Iranian crews, drunk on their own hype, are a mere 67 seconds away from discovering that the American military does not play games of chicken when 5,000 lives are at stake. The Iranian fast attack craft are screaming across the surface, completely oblivious to the fact that their entire operation was mathematically dismantled 12 hours before they even left port. But here is the genius detail that makes this a masterpiece of strategic intimidation. How does a 100,000-ton American supercarrier see through 380 feet of murky salt water to anticipate an ambush? The answer lies in a terrifyingly efficient concept known as the kill web, a seamlessly integrated network of sensors and shooters that turns the entire Persian Gulf into an inescapable American fishbowl. Long before the Iranian submarine, Captain even thought about flooding his torpedo tubes. A United States Navy P-8A Poseidon, the first omnipotent brain of this operation, had already carpeted the ocean with a meticulously calculated grid of 140 active and passive sonobuoys, creating a closed-loop acoustic tripwire. Hovering miles above the cloud deck, an E-2D Advanced Hawkeye operating under the call sign Hunter 91, the second omnipotent brain, acted as a colossal flying Wi-Fi router, funneling every single piece of targeting data straight into the glowing screens of every warship in the strike group. That arrogant Kilo-class submarine thought it was invisible, hiding beneath the thermal layer. But the brutal reality is that every single metallic clank and rhythmic beat of its aging diesel engines had been crystal clearly recorded and analyzed by the AN/SICUQ 89 acoustic sensor suite. The United States Navy was never in danger. They were simply allowing the enemy to accumulate enough rope to hang themselves. But wait, there is one more layer to this catastrophic failure for the Iranian forces. The moment the enemy submarine committed the ultimate sin of firing those torpedoes, the invisible American web slammed shut, launching instantly from the flight deck of the escorting cruisers. Two MH-60R Seahawk helicopters ripped through the humid night air, hovering aggressively over the exact coordinates of the doomed submarine to plunge their dipping sonars deep into the black water. They are locking down the final depth telemetry with absolute ruthless precision, preparing to deliver a payload that does not care about Iranian propaganda. Warning: if you think this is just a lucky defensive percent maneuver, you are about to witness how modern warfare is strictly a mathematician's game, and the thermal truth is about to get very, very loud. The trap snaps shut with terrifying velocity as the two MH-60R Seahawk helicopters release 4 lightweight Mk-54 torpedoes into the black water. Don't blink unless you want to miss the exact moment. Physics changes history, emitting active acoustic pings at an agonizing 37,000 times per second. The American torpedoes refused to let the Iranian Kilo submarine bend the mathematical rules of survival. The Mk-54S easily acquired the doomed steel tube, accelerating relentlessly before detonating their shaped-charged warheads directly against the hull, instantly crushing the $80 million Iranian dream under thousands of tons of deep-sea pressure, turning their celebrating crew into a permanent fixture of the ocean. Meanwhile, on the surface, the 12 fiberglass attack boats are about to meet their spectacular end. The USS Delbert D. Black does not negotiate, it simply executes. 24 SM-6 missiles violently erupt from the destroyer's vertical launch system, tearing the humid night sky to shreds with a blinding, fiery fury. But here is the genius detail that makes this a masterpiece: strategic intimidation. These interceptors are equipped with advanced dual-mode seekers, allowing them to autonomously hunt down the tiny, zigzagging speedboats without needing constant radar guidance from the mothership. It takes exactly 67 seconds for the pride of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard to completely evaporate into a fine mist of burning fiberglass and boiling seawater. Ordinary people will just look at the flaming debris scattered across the Gulf. But those deep thinkers among us will see the bigger. This is the instantaneous, humiliating collapse of an entire offensive doctrine. The Pentagon just happily authorized a $61 million fireworks display to completely vaporize a mosquito fleet, proving that while their boats are dirt cheap, the cost of challenging the United States Navy is terminal. The $13 billion aircraft carrier never even flinched, treating the entire apocalyptic slaughter as a minor speed bump before breakfast. As the flaming wreckage of the Iranian fiberglass armada sinks into the Persian Gulf, the silence that follows is deafeningly humiliating for Tehran. On the bridge of the USS Gerald R Ford, the collective heart rate of the crew hasn't even spiked. 0 American casualties, not a single drop of paint scratched on the hull of the $13 billion supercarrier. The Pentagon just solved a complex economic equation with ruthless efficiency, trading $61 million of precision munitions to completely erase an $800 million Iranian naval infrastructure. If you ask why the American commanders look relaxed, I will tell you a terrifying military secret. This wasn't just a defensive SWAT, it was a massive intelligence trap. The surviving Iranian command centers are panicking, lighting up their communication networks, completely unaware that the United States Navy is recording every single encrypted syllable. But wait, there is one more lethal layer to this catastrophic failure. While the enemy stared at the burning debris, F/A-18E Super Hornets slipped inland with AGM-65 Maverick missiles. Using the freshly intercepted signals, they systematically erased every mobile launcher hidden in the coastal villages. To finish the brutal job, a barrage of Tomahawk cruise missiles screams across the sky, relentlessly flattening Bandar Abbas into a smoldering parking lot. The entire Iranian coastal defense doctrine has been dismantled before the American crew even sits down for breakfast. Only those with a razor-sharp tactical mind can answer this. If you were the Iranian commander waking up to this one-sided slaughter, would you try to save face by launching another futile wave? Or admit your propaganda just collided with an unstoppable American reality? Me know the move of a true grandmaster down in the comments.